Welcome back, and today we're refreshing a garden, kind of. So this is the school garden that I teach at, and no one's been here for a month now. I just wanted to show you what a garden could look like unattended for a month, and where do you go from here. If your garden's a little overgrown and you're not quite sure where to start, I got you. Welcome back, and today we're gonna go over 4 steps on how to bring your garden back to life. Step 1, we're gonna do a walkthrough and assess what stays and what goes. For step 2, we're gonna harvest. Step 3, we're going to remove. And for step 4, we're going to replenish. Enough talk, let me show you around. We're at the school site of where I teach and also where I designed this garden behind me. It doesn't look like a whole lot right now, but we've got a lot going on inside. So let's do our little walk around so we can assess. I actually was here yesterday to take a quick run through just to see, is there something worth showing you? Now, I think there is. In this garden space, we have 7 beds and 4 of these green stock growing gardens. So in this first garden right here, you can see it's overgrown. I've already fixed it, but there is a spigot on the side. Let me bring you around. This spigot right here was not even inside. It was clear on the outside, so the ground is soaking wet. The plants were not happy. So again, the students have been out for over a month. We haven't been here for, I would say, 6 weeks. And this is kind of what I would expect. We have radishes that didn't get harvested and they've gone to seed right here. Now the students aren't here, so I don't think I'm gonna leave everything like this. We have a lot of seeds that we could save, but the students aren't here to do it. Part of assessing is looking at where your garden space is at. And right now here we have radish seeds that are forming. The seed pods are actually still edible. It's actually tangled with a snap pea. Snow pea? Snap pea. And so if you're in the tender stages like this, you can actually eat them. This one. And these are, oh yep, these are still edible. They taste like radishes with a little bit of a punch. Actually, that one's not that bad. It's not too spicy, but looks like this. So a lot of chefs actually serve this as a dish. I could pickle these. If you let these dry out, then you can collect the seeds on the inside. These are all seed pods. Actually, let's take a look inside. So if I were to open it, oh, there they are. They're green right now. These are not viable seeds. They have to dry out for it to be viable. Now on this side, we have a lot of calendula, and towards the bottom we have some sage, we have some mint. We even have some down here, coming down this way. Down here, we have some weeds, so this needs to get pulled out. Just pull it out, right? And then we have some calendula that's self-seeded, or the students had some seeds and seeded them here. So we have mint. Now this mint, I'll bring it closer for you. This mint is a little tired. So I'll probably give it a really good haircut and it is going to bounce right back. Now I just like to make sure that the lid is correctly on top. Otherwise, you're gonna be dealing with leaking, inadequate irrigation, all the things. So otherwise, I love using these green stalks. That's why I install them too. Oh look, this is really cool. Sorry, I got distracted. When I said about seed saving, let's talk about calendula, right? So calendula, the seeds actually look like this. There's like this interesting little curlicue thing. And let's see if I can show you in the different stages. So the flower, the petals come off, and then this becomes the seed pod. And then you can see in here, it's starting to dry. And then you start to get the seeds. And so this can be collected and free seeds, free plants. For assessing, we're gonna give everybody a haircut, and I'm gonna try to leave some of these green materials because I want them to set seed. All the herbs right here you can see are dried out because the watering spigot was off to the side. So if I give this a really good haircut, it might come back. Also, it is actually really wet because the spigot was turned on all the way. So the combo of too wet and then too dry was just not a good combo. And let's see, we've got a little bit of mold going, so it does need to dry out. So I'm basically going to haircut everything, leave some things to go to seed, like the calendula maybe. I'll probably leave some radish. We do have radish everywhere that is setting seed, so it doesn't have to be all this particular one. You can also tell that this seed pod is different from the one down here. It's like two different varieties, and I can tell you from experience that this one is spicier because I've tried it. I'm not gonna do that now though. And let's move on to the next bed because there's a lot of them. Like I said, usually the students come and I let them pull anything that's in the ground out. They barely have to ask. If it's green, I don't want it in the mulch, I want it out. Now, the last time this was mulched was probably about 1.5 years ago, and so during the summer we're hoping that the groundskeepers will come and remulch to keep the weeds at bay, but for now I'm the one pulling them. So here's one here, and you can see the soil is actually pretty good. Look at that. But I want to shake it all off so it stays here as much as possible. And what I like about using raised beds that have a hard surface is you kind of just whack them against the side of the bed and the soil all just comes off. So that's done. Here's another one. All right, so over here in this bed, this is, I believe, like a 17-inch bed or something. It's really short. For our garden here, I actually let the kids sow the seeds wherever they want because this is a learning garden. It is not designed to be the most aesthetic, but it is pretty. It's just a little overgrown right now. But here we have, I don't know if you can tell, but this is lettuce seed. And well, it's a lettuce that has bolted and now we have the seeds. And we also have sunflower. We have snow peas right here. This is cilantro that has gone to flower and seed. I'll give you close-ups in a minute. And kale as well. We have beans in the bottom. We have calendula. TK through 5th grade, come and visit me in the garden and they get to plant, they get to harvest, and they get to taste whatever they want in the garden as long as it's ready. Now let's go on to over here, bring it closer. I know cilantro is not everyone's favorite, but I love it. And look at how pretty the flowers are. It's just like little flower. I've actually used it as cut flower as long as you don't mind the smell because it does smell like cilantro. And then even at this stage where it's forming the seed pods is really cute. And yeah, so this is lettuce seeds starting to form. And you'll see them all in here. And then let's move on. So for that bed, sorry, I forgot to tell you, I did the assessing in my head and didn't share. So for this bed, I'm going to remove all this because there is powdery mildew on it. I'm gonna weed that weed because that has a lot of seeds that are about to blow everywhere and we don't want that. I'm gonna remove the lettuce because as our temperatures get warmer, we actually are really close to the beach, and what you see behind me, this whole gloominess, is actually marine layer, and it keeps a really moist blanket, and powdery mildew loves it. So the lettuce, I'll probably remove. I'll leave the kale because that's a perennial here. I'll leave the sunflower. Everyone loves the sunflower. It's so cheery. And we'll see what else I find as I go, but that's that one. This one we'll do real quick. So for this one, same situation. So this is what the mint looks like. And let me tell you, mint is really hard to kill. So if mint looks like this, something actually went wrong. And in this case, some of this will bounce back, but not this piece because I cut it. But this whole spigot was out here. And if it's out here, it's not watering. So that's how I know this all died. And all the vegetables on it, and it's all the way around, but I'm gonna take that out. So that one's easy, just rip it out and see what's left. All right, here we have Swiss chard that has gone to seed. It looks pretty cool. I might leave this one and see what happens when we collect the seeds for this. These seeds are a little bit bigger and more easy to manage than lettuce seed, so I actually might take out some of the lettuces here and leave some other ones like these ones down here to go to seed because they're upright, they're not falling over. When it comes to managing the aesthetic of a garden, if you can kind of keep it tidier, it doesn't matter what's inside. So for example, if I were to keep this Swiss chard, but I remove some of this lettuce here that is falling over, if I take some of this radish that's trailing over out, it'll clean up like that. And we can let these go to seed. We actually have a lot of bird visitors, and I don't know, I like to create a little biome so the birds eat the insects, and there's so much here that they're not disturbing the plants. There's summer camp on campus, but there's very little activity here, so there is a feast for all the critters. We do have some critter visitors, however, they are very gracious. They don't decimate anything so far, knock on wood. I don't have wood here, but you might get to see some birds. They come a little bit later, but let's go in. On this side, oh, we actually have some really good looking kale. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it right here? We have some really good looking kale, some lettuce that is starting to bolt, but let's see. Its flavor has changed. Once it bolts, the flavor does change. I'm gonna trip over here, but you can see the kids sowed some snap peas along the edge here. I'll take all of this out because it's just dangling on the side. You can see it's breeding powdery mildew. Mildew's happy because right here where I am in the South Bay of Los Angeles, our temperatures really stay between 65 to 80. We don't crack 80 very often because of this marine layer that you see. And over here we have fennel. And well, actually, is this fennel? Yep, this is fennel. Woo! Tastes like black licorice. Okay, I know I planted some dill here too. That's why I was wondering if it was the dill. There's a fern leaf dill or if it was fennel. And it's definitely fennel. We have cilantro here. And then here behind me, this was a mustard. And I'll bring you closer so you can see it better. This right here is a mustard that has completely gone to seed, and by the looks of the seed pods, we're gonna have seeds everywhere. So I'm gonna take these stalks down, take them home, and I'm gonna shake it up in a bag, and hopefully we're gonna get some mustard seeds that the kids can sow when they come back. And also behind that, there's a lot of cilantro. There's cilantro everywhere. The kids got some cilantro and I let them seed them because we are in California and cilantro goes with tacos and burritos. So here we go. We're over here now on the arch. It doesn't look like a whole lot, can't see much, but right now on this side, this is fennel, and you might be wondering, okay, why do I have it growing like this? And there's multiple reasons. Fennel is a really good pollinator. The bees and the butterflies love it, and specifically swallowtail butterflies love fennel. They love bronze fennel even more, but this fennel is fine. And I'm hoping that this whole fennel forest will attract some butterflies. And maybe we'll get a chrysalis in here. So I'm leaving the fennel, and also all of these, each little flower cluster is going to seed, and you can tell we're gonna have a ton of fennel seeds. So if anybody wants some fennel seeds, let me know. Then over here, we have some fava bean, and the fava beans are, oops, someone pulled out a radish. You can see this was a black radish. So this one's done. Again, this is a learning garden, so we don't do any pesticides. We actually don't even spray a single thing. We only use organic fertilizer, and the rest is up to Mother Nature. Let me grab my snips. All right. By the way, these are my favorite snips. They're a Japanese brand. I'll put the link in the bottom, but they are sharp. These are actually a small size because my hand isn't that big and I don't get as tired using these. So for over here, like these faba beans are done and I would just cut across. Now I do see a tomato branch and I do want to keep those. I actually might take some of the fennel down because we've got both sides of this. Let's keep this tomato over here. I might take some of the fennel down just so we can let some more light in back here for the tomato plant because it is a little bit crowded. So let's take out the faba bean. Now faba bean is known to be a really good soil fixer and that's why we plant it. But what they don't talk about is once they start forming the pods, they're actually pulling the nutrients they put into the soil out again. So, fun fact. Anyway, we're gonna just cut these down. They might sprout back, but here we go. I haven't found a faba bean recipe that I absolutely love. There are other beans that I prefer. So if you have one, I'd love to know. And here, I don't want this lettuce. And here's another tomato branch. This I think is sun gold. We'll tidy this up in a bit. But yeah, I'm just gonna take this lettuce out. And then down here, I'll move you over so you can see what we have. This is sorrel and it is, you can call it a leafy green. And looks like this. I just really like the veining. It's a little citrusy. You can cut it and add it to your, yeah, it's definitely citrusy. I'm not the biggest fan of this by itself, but I have had it in a salad or you can make it into a sauce. It's pretty good. So since this is a learning garden, I think it's really important for kids to see that leaves and such look different. Like if you look at the veining and then I have them try it, some might think it looks like lettuce. Does it taste like lettuce? What's the texture? It is a little bit more durable than lettuce as I just rip it. But anyway, moving along. So this lettuce seed, we have so much over there. So I'm actually gonna just chop it and drop it onto the ground. So that way I have some visibility. Now there is an arch behind here and ideally everything grows, but you still have some airflow because again, we deal with a lot of powdery mildew here. And you can see the tomato has been crowded by all these other plants, but now we've kind of fixed that. So I'm actually gonna cut this one off. There is, I know, there's fruit, but I cut it right here. There's fruit. Because it's a little too stringy for what I like, or this is grown, stretched out, and it's not gonna be a really strong branch, so I'm just gonna cut it now. Okay, now goal is some airflow, and cut that off. Any of this brown stuff, you can leave it to deteriorate, but because we're going for airflow, I'm removing it. And I know, so this is a big giant sunflower, and I'm gonna remove some of the lower leaves, again, for airflow. And the plant has enough up there. You can see, this is, okay, yeah, it's a big sunflower at the top. And I'm gonna remove. Now you might be wondering, why are you cutting instead of just pulling the plant? Now when you pull the plant, you disturb the roots, you might disturb the roots of another plant. So if you just cut it off, it doesn't bother anything below the soil. If you're wondering about that, you don't wanna disturb the soil as much as possible. Take that all out. So I already see some powdery mildew. What is this? This is gonna be a radish. So I'm gonna cut that off because we don't need that guy here. And you might be saying like, well, what happened to our 4 steps? Well, this is how gardening goes, to be honest. You start to assess and then you dig into it, or you just can't wait. The moment I have a pair of these, it's over. So this all needs to get retied up here. And truthfulness, there isn't a whole lot to harvest right now because this is actually a spring garden. We never flipped it to a summer garden. So we added some summer plants like tomatoes, but we did not add, we didn't turn it over. We didn't take out the lettuces, things like that, because we wanted the kids to see the full cycle as much as possible before they went on summer break. But let's go around the corner. Over here, this is the other side of it. There's a lot. Now we're on the inside of that whole situation, and you can see this is all lettuce right here, and we don't need any of this. So off it goes, drop it. Now this is a radish, so cut it, and you can see all the seed pods. And this one is also a radish, but I might leave it because this is a lot closer. Oh, this is interesting. So you're wondering, why do we leave the seeds? Well, somebody was hungry, and you can see somebody came and had a snack. I don't know what creature, but they liked it. So sometimes it's good to leave some snacks for our neighbors. Okay. And as you're assessing and as you're cutting, be careful not to cut your irrigation lines. That is the most annoying thing, is when I accidentally cut something I didn't mean to cut. So all of this can actually come down, because again, we're going for airflow for the tomatoes. And oops, what happened here? This is a tomato vine. When I pulled that out, it pulled the tomato. Let me pull this out. Cut. All right, I'm gonna let this drop for a second. Let's cut this. Cut that. And then put this up here. I'm actually going to string this through. Oops, broke a branch. It's okay. And now that there's more sun, it's actually going to do a lot better now. It's gonna stay up there. I'm gonna thread that one through there, and now it's all supported. Okay. This is very much how I garden at home. We do assess, and as we go, we can take things out. So this is a combo of radishes and lettuces. I'm gonna get to the fennel over here. Like I said, the goal is to create more space for the tomatoes to flourish. And here, let's take out the sunflower leaf because it doesn't need it anymore. The sunflower is, I don't know if you can see it, it's all the way at the top and is finishing. But yeah, so I usually just go down the line and cut and drop, and later I can either put this into a pile, let it compost down, or put it into a green bin somewhere. But all right, this is good enough for right this moment. We're doing a rough chop and drop, and then we gotta do the other side. So here, Again, same thing. Now this is a lot of seed, and I'm just gonna get rid of it because it looks really messy over here. Now this spot is closer to the school, like main areas, so I like to keep it a little bit tidier. Oh, we do have a cucumber family. I don't know which one we planted here, but we planted something. I'll find the tag somewhere in here, but I'm just wanting to tidy it up a little bit because it got squashed in there. Haha, squashed. Anyway, oh, it's spaghetti squash. So I'm gonna clean this up so then we can have spaghetti squash all over. And I'm probably gonna rip it all out, but look, we have dragon tongue beans that are delicious. There's the beans on the inside. Not good raw. But we have other beans here. So when I say it's time to harvest, that's a good bean. Okay. We'll pull out all this dead stuff and try to save the green beans. As you can see, powdery mildew is all over this plant. You can see it, all that white fluff. Oof, gross. And this plant has just truly given up. So we're gonna pull it out. Alrighty, that looks so much better without this brown stuff. There's a lot of beans, so maybe the beans stay, but this lettuce, it's done. Take it out. Ugh, gross. All right. So I can see a lot better now that I've cut and dropped all this. We have another squash plant here that I want to make space for. This looks like it's butternut squash. And the idea is that it's going to crawl up here, and so we'll have butternut squash for the kids when they get back. Now, butternut squash is called a winter squash, and so is a spaghetti squash. And for a very long time, because I did not grow up eating squash, I wasn't familiar why there's summer squash and winter squash and the differences. I thought you would plant summer squash when you want summer squash in the summer, and then in the winter you would plant in the winter, but that is all wrong. That's when you harvest. So winter squash does take longer. You would plant them both in spring, early spring to summer when there's no more chance of frost. And summer squash you would be able to harvest in summer, usually in like 60 to 90 days, depending on if you started from seed or seedling. And then for winter squash, that can be anywhere from 90 to 120 days, depending on the size and the variety, yada, yada, yada. So that's your little thing about squash. Okay, now I'll take you around the back. I don't accept the excuse I don't have any space, because look at right here. This is a little side wall and we have plenty of things growing. This is just the other side of that arch, and there's plenty of beans. And on this side, oh, even the fennel is all the way here. Like this fennel, unless I can fix it, I'm just gonna take it out. This is really hard. Chop and drop it right here, because this is already leaning over. Like there's no reason. Well, this one's big, so maybe I can keep that one. So is this one. But these guys, it's just, and then we have little weeds in the bed, so we'll weed that. And then all of these are snap peas. And this is fennel. And you can see already it looks so much better. I didn't bring gloves. I normally try to wear some gloves because this is gross, but look at that. Just take all this down. I might end up tearing some beans out in the process, but that's the risk we take when we're doing a partial refresh. But I'm gonna keep this bean. So that's part of when you're assessing. I'm gonna cut this actually. We don't need that. And then this bean. Let's see, all the beans. Well, I know what's for dinner. These beans, got a whole handful. Pull that out. Gross. Now, this bean, when you can start seeing the shape of the bean, this is too tough to eat. So I'm just gonna leave that one. Some of these are just a little too tough. We might let it seed. Let's take this out. I don't want all this brown stuff. Okay, where's my, snips are here. I don't want this lettuce. We're gonna chop this guy. And help the beans grow up that way. Here. Hi. Some more beans here. Because it's so fresh, these are not that bad. They're a little bit overgrown, but they're still pretty tasty. So I'm gonna keep those. We got some camp kids on recess. Okay. There's a lot of beans here. So we're under the arch. This is now a lot cleaner. You can see all the way through to the wall on that side. You can see through to the wall on this side. I'll come back in off camera and take more of this out, but let's finish the tour and the assessing. Okay, so over here, it looks like a hot mess, but there's actually a lot going on. Right here, we have cilantro going to seed. This is younger cilantro. So for this, I will actually cut it and dry it further. Now these, I think, are very close. I can do the same thing. And basically that looks like this. Take your snips to the base of the plant. And now, I'm gonna take this home, or I might even put it in the garden shed for the kids. And then we have all of this seed that they can harvest. Each one of these little balls on here is a seed pod with more seeds inside. So I'm gonna set this aside because we wanna keep that. That one's not going into the green bin. Also this one right here at the end. You can see this is fully dried out. Just like this. I told you we have a lot, okay? And there's even more on the other side, but what else is going on in this bed is potatoes. So you can't see the potatoes above ground. They are in here, but because there is grass nearby, I need to weed out all the grass that's in here. We have some other brown material. This is alyssum. I actually love alyssum because it's a great pollinator and it's cute. So there's a lot of seed, a lot of grass in here that got in here. Could be because the lawn's right there when they were seeding. But this is a great opportunity to come through and check your beds. We also have this one we don't want. I wish the kids were here. They're really good at weeding. And I could wait for them to come back, but then all of these weeds will set their seeds and we'll have even more weeds to deal with, and I don't want that. So here we have some snap peas that are past their prime. You cut that out. Some more cilantro here. Now this cilantro looks like it has powdery mildew on it, so I don't want to keep it. Oh, okay. Whew. Smells good though. And then over here, this one, same thing. I don't think I'm gonna keep this one. All that. This way, it already looks so much better now that we're cleaning this bed up. Don't want this. Have some weeds in here. Gotta make sure we get rid of. Here's a bean plant, some more grass. I think there's a bird watching me over there. This back bed, it's kind of similar. We do have a Swiss chard here. I'm gonna leave this alone. It looks pretty good. This is lettuce seed, and I'm 5'4", and this is how tall the lettuce got. So over here, I might leave this back bed because I want the kids to be able to see what seeds look like. But I'm gonna tidy it up just a bit. Like these right here. Take that out. These are all radish that has gone to seed. These are all coming out. This potato plant. There's some weeds back here. This all needs to go. If it's a weed, definitely pull it by the root to get it out of there. Oh, this one is pulling on my irrigation line, so better get rid of that. Put the irrigation back down. We have a sunflower at the end here. I'll leave that guy. I'm gonna take all this out right here. Now, it looks like an even worse mess now, but I'm telling you, this is just part of the process. I got sidetracked again by taking all these things down. I see something and I just need to get it done. But let me walk you over to the other 4 beds we have on the other side. Over here, we have 4 beds, and they actually are really pretty right now when it's so full. And these are only like 2-foot beds to here, but the plants have leaned over. I don't mind it right now. It's very lush, but there are a few plants in here that are not what we want because this is an edible learning garden, so I will pull some of them out. These ones I might leave the seeds because these lettuces are straight upright. It doesn't look too messy, It just looks very lush and full. We also have some bachelor buttons in here that are so cute. Look at that. It's so cute. They don't really smell, but I believe these are an edible flower too. But okay, over here, oh, I don't know what flower that is. Okay, so we have lettuce over here. Let me just bring you closer. This is really down the line. Okay, so I can tell that the kids planted some cover crop because that's what this is right here. It's very pretty. I think the name is really ugly though. I think it's called hairy vetch or something like that. But anyway, we have lots of cilantro seeds. So I'm gonna take this and save these seeds, leave the lettuce. Over here, same thing, take the cilantro seed. We have some beans in here. So I'm gonna train these beans to climb on the fence. Let's use what we have in terms of supports. Then let's turn this way. Over here, we have one more bed. And you can see there is a really big tree above, and so this does get some shade, but it's still growing just fine. And we have calendula, runner beans. This is, I think, a purple cauliflower that just keeps growing. The leaves are edible. And we have, again, lots of cilantro. There is a really giant weed that I have to pull out. I can't wait. So I gotta pull this one out. Like, nope. I can't even pull it. But this is how healthy. Look at, this must be like a thistle family, but look how big this is. This one, look how big this one is. Again, I'm 5'4", and this is right next to me. So this thistle family was actually very, very happy, but this is going bye-bye. Then over here, there's another branch of it. It's going bye-bye. The main goal of teaching kids how to garden is to build community, to teach kindness, to teach perseverance, that if you fail, you can just get another seed and try again. And I'm really enjoying it. I think the kids are loving it. We do teach at 2 different schools right now. We also like to teach all the stages of the plant, from seed to growing to collecting seed again, harvesting, eating, all of that stuff. We do focus mostly on food. I think that's really important, but let me go to the other side. That was a lot of talking, but I have so much gardening to get done. I'm gonna get going on this, and I'll bring you back to show you the progress. I didn't exactly show you all 4 steps in chronological order. It kind of got mixed up. I'll do better next time. But it looks a lot better, right? You can see airflow, you can hear all the kids in the background. Summer camp is in session and I'm spent. So we just need the groundskeeping team to come remove all the dead material that I removed. Take a peek. Look at all that down there. There's another secret pile behind the other bed over there. There's another secret pile behind the bed over there. And I'm gonna go get some lunch, but I'll see you in the next video.